Hey, what's up, Make a Buck Virgin Gang? Hope you're doing well. I'm doing pretty good. Today's card, we're just pumping today because I'm a pumper now. We're going to pump up this Quaxley right here, this reverse hollow Quaxley from the brand new set Shiny Treasure. Look at that shine. Look at that sparkle. Also, Quaxley, the best Paldean starter that has ever existed. Love this card right here. Let's get this card up to like $100, $150. That sounds reasonable, right? Let's pump this stuff up. And the second it goes up, I'm going to sell it right there. So like someone can actually have that card that was owned by me, the savior of the TCG, Opossum. Okay, so that's probably not going to make a whole lot of sense to a lot of people. That's perfectly fine. I'll go into it though. So I put out a video yesterday talking about pumping, right? And the whole thing about that stuff. I think I did a pretty good job explaining the whole difference between pumping, people liking specific cards, went into a couple personal things myself about why I said certain things about cards, why I believe certain people are pumping to certain things, and why I do think some of my friends have been accused of pumping when they actually just genuinely like cards, or they're just talking about stuff in the TCG space. So today, the very thing I was talking about yesterday, the whole reason I made yesterday's video, it kind of unfolded today. I'm not going to fucking post the person or anything like that. I still respect them to a degree. I'm not, and for the most part, the fact they actually have an opinion, I actually love that. They can say what they want. Essentially, this person put up this part right here on their story, and they replayed it a couple times. The same way I replay things. That's a nice little touch right there. I like that a good little bit. That's really fucking funny. It was this part right here. Let me give you an example. So say that I was like on here, right? We'll use me for an example. Say I was just talking all day about like how much I love full art trainers and how much I think you, the person watching this stuff, should pick up some full art trainers. They're a solid investment. They're something that I personally think will go up in price, and you should pick them up now before you actually miss out on them. Have I said some things like that before? Absolutely, because I'm afraid that certain people who actually want said cards are going to get priced out of certain things, and it did happen for a little bit with Japanese full art trainers. Have I said some things like that before? Absolutely. Have I said some things like that before? Absolutely. Have I said some things like that before? Absolutely. Oh, look at that. Case closed. You got me. Snappity snap. Looks like I'm just a big old dirty pumper, just like the likes of the people that were buying vintage stuff, buying, I don't know, about $1 million worth of it, and then listing some said things on their actual website to sell, not for any particular reason, and making a video actually talking about why they think said vintage product is going to go up in price exponentially, and, maybe had some stuff said to that. It's exactly the same. That whole thing, you got me, snippety snip. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff on my website for actually, I don't even fucking have a website. You get the idea, though. There's going to be a bunch of stuff for sale. I'm going to make mad bank off that. What they didn't show, though, and why I think the whole thing is poetic and why it's literally just a fucking sign from a goddamn higher power, is literally the reason I made the video, is what this person's attempting to do. They left out this whole part right here, by the way. And anybody who's seen yesterday's video, I'm sorry you're watching it so recently. Like I said, you can't make this shit up. Say I was just talking all day about like how much I love full art trainers and how much I think you, the person watching this stuff, should pick up some full art trainers. They're a solid investment. They're something that I personally think will go up in price, and you should pick them up now before you actually miss out on them. Have I said some things like that before? Absolutely, because I'm afraid that certain people who actually want said cards are going to get priced out of certain things, and it did happen for a little bit with Japanese full art trainers. Absolutely, because I'm afraid that certain people who actually want said cards are going to get priced out of certain things, and it did happen for a little bit with Japanese full art trainers. Absolutely, because I'm afraid that certain people who actually want said cards are going to get priced out of certain things, and it did happen for a little bit with Japanese full art trainers. There was no indication of anything going down. There was no indication of Pokemon doing anything to rectify this stuff. Luckily, they did. People are able to get some amazing full art trainers for some great price. There's some delicious Bromeo cards you can pick up for literally nothing. I show them off occasionally on Instagram. Sometimes I'll put up IG listings of people, overcharging cards and be like, yeah, you can get that card for like a third the price here. On eBay, the land of I charge whatever the fuck I want. Now, what would make that different and what would make me doing a pumping thing, right? I did that whole spiel. I did that whole fucking actual speech, right? Okay? Everyone bought trainers, right? Everybody went for them. Everybody was doing that stuff. The second people started buying them and the price went up, I turn around and I open my fucking binder of cards, right? And I'm like, hey, you see these trainers right here? Now, this is something. I'm going to give this to an exclusive fucking subscriber here or something like that. I mean, you guys get the first pick. If you buy these cards, yes, they're worth a little bit more than what they're going for right this second, but they're not worth near as much as they will be worth. You guys should pick these up right. That's pumping, okay? I don't buy multiple copies of cards. I don't buy multiple copies of anything. I usually buy 1 or 2 copies to go in a binder, and that's it. That's generally what I do. Yeah, that adds a whole lot of additional context to it, right? See, I was actually back in the day. Let me go into my personal stuff again real quick. I'm sure a lot of y'all know. So back in the day, I collected full art trainers. I collected a bunch of them. I started collecting them in like English. I had a few of them in Japanese, but the English stuff started getting kind of crazy expensive. Things were kind of booming up a little bit. So I kind of made a move to go more permanently Japanese. I'd always collected a little bit of Japanese here and there. Got some boxes, got some of my favorite cards, things like that. I went pretty hardcore Japanese because it was something that was affordable. I really did like the cards, and it became a little bit more easy for me to actually pick up some stuff. Right? I picked up a bunch of Japanese full art trainers, a bunch of Japanese alt arts, a bunch of things from the Sun and Moon era, the XY era, just things that I really genuinely liked because they were cheaper. They were something I liked, and I had people say things to me about that stuff too, where they were like, "Why are you collecting stuff? Why are you doing that?" The whole thing. I was like, "I just like that stuff." Okay, right? So I watched overnight my hobby, the things that I like to collect, my specific niche, my genre of card I like to collect, get fucking inflated over goddamn night, okay? I watched it happen. I didn't even fucking see it like coming that crazy. I knew it was coming, but how crazy it went was just something that like no one could have anticipated. Cards that were like 30, 40 bucks were now like $800, $900, man. There were people cashing in on it. There are people making videos about this being the next move, the next bump, the next thing. And I actively detested against it. I was someone who did not like any of that stuff, and I said this needs to stop. This is not sustainable. This is not healthy growth for a lot of your cards, and the value of that stuff is going to tank at some point because it's just not sustainable. Same time, I did tell some people, as it was very right there, I did tell some people about some trainers, hey, I don't know. You might want to pick up some of this stuff while you can because I don't really know specifically what's going to go on with stuff in the future. It was usually specifically about cards like in the Sword and Shield era when they first dropped, and it was specific waifu trainers or things that were getting pumped up that no one could really predict. Like, I mean, a set could drop, man. It could fucking drop. There could be pre-orders for cards, and then all of a fucking sudden, the card could be like $250, $300 for a random trainer. And then Scarlet and Violet came, and then Miriam just rocked everybody's world. Dendra blew my mind the most because she is a complete side character that nobody even gave a fuck about, right? And that card was pushing like $900 whenever Triplet Beat came out. So I did tell some people, I don't know, if you genuinely like some cards and you want to pull the bullet on that shit, man, because I was pulling the bullet on a couple cards too that I wanted to add to my binder, okay? I don't know. The value might go up on them. Some people might pump them up. I did tell people that. I'm not going to lie to you guys. That'd be really shitty of me. I told people, maybe you want to pick up some of these cards if you genuinely like them. Go for that. I have never once actually gotten cards though with the intention of like making value go up or something like that, or promoting something or talking about something that I personally don't collect for the whole sake of value going up. I talk about cards specifically because I fucking like them. And that's the whole poetry of the whole thing. I'm once again being said I pump shit up and I'm pumping stuff because I asked that person, I went to their fucking DMs like, yo dude, are you for real right now? And then the whole thing back and forth basically was like, you skimmed my video, you didn't really play the next part, you're just showing some kind of bullshit out of context, which they are. I showed you guys that. Came up, you know, the whole Mystic thing, which I don't even think I talked about Mystic pumping at all. I don't really fucking care about that stuff. He definitely was trying to do it, though, and that's definitely something that can't be argued. It's just not arguable. And then full art trainers came up, where I have a bunch of full art trainers, and just because I haven't sold them yet or anything like that doesn't mean I'm not going to sell them later. You're still trying to hype them up and get this crazy value up. It doesn't matter why you do it. Yeah, one slight problem with that. Yeah, motherfucker, I still have my cards. If I was going to sell them, I should have sold them 2 years ago. Do you know how many people were in my DMs about my Lily card, my Battle Boost one, when it was at the absolute peak of its price, where people were just going nutso butso over like the PSA 10 copies of it or the BGS copies? You know how many people were in my DMs? A ton of them. There was people asking me almost daily if I was moving that card. You know what I told them? Sorry, I like this card. I'm keeping it. I had people heavily tell me, like people advised me I need to move this card. Just buy it back later for cheaper. It's like, no, I bought this card back in the day. I have attachment to my cards. I actually like my collection. I'm not selling them. And I'm not like, if I didn't have my card collection anymore, like if I had sold them at their absolute peak, yeah, absolutely, you got me. You fucking got me right there and all that stuff. And like, it's just crazy how you can make a video about something and then motherfuckers will still literally like snippet shit. Yeah, take a snippet of this right here. Take a little snip right there. Put this on your goddamn story right there, you goddamn clown. just, it's so fucking funny. Like, I respect the fact that you have an opinion about stuff. I really do. But quite frankly, if it's that easy to just prove that all I gotta do is play the next 10 seconds of my fucking video, like, why even bother? Why even do that? Hey, keep rocking you, man. Keep making opinions about that stuff. I'm not gonna throw you under the bus. You want to expose yourself? Go right ahead. Just, it's poetry. I make a video about that. I actually talk about that and give actual examples of it lays itself out right here. Someone accusing me of doing something purely because I talked about something like, oh, look, I got him, snapshot. He said he talked about something. Maybe you should pick up a card because the price might go up. Yeah, because we might fucking lose out on cards. People were literally scalping this fucking product, and cards were going from $30 fucking to $900 fucking. I watched it happen, okay? And I tried to tell people about that stuff too, and they fucking laughed at me, okay? Yeah, this shit heats me up, okay? Just a little bit. Because I actively detested against this stuff. Didn't buy any fucking EV Hero boxes, no Blue Sky Stream, no fucking Towering Perfection, no Fusion Arts, none of that shit. Man, people fucking kill me, bro. You fucking think you got a point, but you look like a clown. That's all I got. Thanks, virgins. I'm sorry you had to go through the whole thing again. Just, it laid itself out too perfectly. It presented itself.